Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
And that's what it is. They're not the government. They're dirty, stinking pieces of criminal filth. Period. And all these decades, they swore up and down, oh, we don't want your guns. Oh, we don't want to restrict them. Oh, we don't. Just let us pass one more piece of gun control legislation, and then we'll stop. And now they're up there saying, we don't want your guns. We don't want your guns. We want reasonable new gun laws, which mean total bans. They have bills to, the reason I'm going into this history is there's new horrors. That's right, the White House or Homeland Security will be able to, in an extrajudicial fashion, outside the courts, completely outside even their kangaroo courts. They have kangaroo family courts that kidnap children, no due process, no witnesses, no nothing. To where they can, now there's already 1 million Americans as of 6 months ago. I haven't seen the latest numbers. They add 25,000 people a month to the list for the last 7 years. There is now over 1 million people on the no-fly list, and they're saying that if you're on a no-fly list or a criminal list, and this is all under Patriot Act compliance. See, people think a no-fly list is just a no-fly list. No. This is a no buy and sell list. So I'm going to go over the legislation that Rahm Emanuel was talking about introducing coming up today. We posted this last night up on prisonplanet.com. And this is the architect. This is Blagojevich's little buddy. This is the person that brought him up to power. This is the individual that brought Barack Obama up to power. So while they're saying they're going to put 20,000 battle-hardened combat troops on the streets of the United States to control us, and while they're saying they're going to create a 1 million-man domestic army, which they've now announced yesterday, officially, they were always saying they would do it, but now they've officially announced it. It's all happening. They're coming with armed force against us for your land, your property, your children. They are usurpers. They are pirates. Tyranny is when pirates get control of government. They are a gang with a flag. And they have these big official-sounding titles. But as the Declaration of Independence reads, when they become destructive of the aims of liberty and freedom in the people, it is the people's right, it is their duty to abolish that form of government and set up a new one. All I want's our old form. These are revolutionaries. I'm a counter-revolutionary. They've come in, bought off our government, overthrown it, and now they're really getting ready to do a Soviet job. And I don't joke when I say this. If they win, they're going to kill 100 million of us. They're going to kill most of us listening right now. They want to murder you and your family. I'm going to get Aaron Zelman, Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, on this week to talk about the most vicious, focused, savage attack, a decapitation attack. If they get this, it's over. Barring physical war with them. We're also going to get Larry Pratt back on this week because so much is happening, so much is going on. I knew when they tripled the size of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the revenuers, a great criminal history, they were the folks that would go around for the feds on whiskey taxes and cotton taxes and other things and beat people up, steal, go in their houses without warrants, rob everything. And, of course, they became corrupt. They became really the first national mafia in the United States by the 1850s, 60s, 70s. And they would range around during Reconstruction and other times just murdering, raping, killing whoever they wanted. So out of those cadres has been formed what we know of as the gun confiscators, the brutal haters of this country, brutal criminal gang in their gun division. Now, you've got the explosives division, you've got the taxing authority over alcohol, tobacco, but that still springs from a criminal organization. I'm not saying everyone that works at the BATF-E is a terrorist. There's a lot of clerks and bureaucrats and, people out there. But they're revenuers. They're the original federal revenuers before you had the income tax. This is the anniversary of the 16th Amendment today, by the way. Or was it yesterday? The point is that they want your guns and they want them bad. A bully wants to subjugate his slaves, and they want to chain you down. It's like a psychopath. It's basic psychopathic psychology. MO, modus operandi. They love getting you chained down so they can leer and smile and get a good look at you and terrorize you and tell you, you're in my power, there's nothing you can do. Man, I watch the news, and it's nothing but demonizing families of more than one or two children. I watch the news. It's constant demonization of industry and businesses that are low level and small. It's constant demonization of bottled water, saying drink your tap water, public service announcements, because they're putting poison in it by design. And the brain damaged public can't even imagine it's that criminal because it's so scary for them to understand it. And last week, in fact, it was in my stack here when I left last Thursday. They moved my stack of news out of here. I've got to find it so I can dig all the bill numbers back out. Or I guess I could pull them up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com during the next break. There's just so many of them. I had a big stack of them. H.R. 45 and others that completely end the Second Amendment. Gone. And see, the Supreme Court pulled that little ruse last year, claiming they'd had a pro-Second Amendment ruling. And I told you it was a sneak attack. It's like the Tet Offensive in Vietnam when it's the Asian New Year, and everybody stands down and they sneak attack during that period. They have announced bills where all of us will have to be psychologically tested. All of our medical records will have to be turned over. Any misdemeanor, any type of mental designation that tens of millions of Americans have. Because, they advertise it as the thing to do. Oh, you're 14. You're depressed over your girlfriend or your boyfriend breaking up with you. The school counselor says, listen, here's a card of a local psychologist. You ought to go to them. First visit, they say, well, I'm going to prescribe Ritalin or this Prozac drug to you because then the insurance kicks in. We'll give you a mental designation, and then it'll all be covered. And then now they're getting those juvenile files. They're getting those private psychological files on tens of millions of Americans. And now if you have a car wreck, they come to you and say, you should see a psychologist. And then they're putting millions of Americans a year on Prozac and other drugs. And see, with that comes a psychological designation. They have to say something's wrong with you. Oh, are you feeling depressed over your car wreck? Yeah, I herniated, 3 discs or ruptured some and have a broken collarbone, doc. I've talked to so many people that have told this story, or I, broke both my legs and smashed my face in. Yeah, I'm bummed out. Knocked all my teeth out. They don't say, well, get back on your feet, exercise. You can get some implants to fix your teeth. Boy, you're lucky you lived through this. They say, oh, well, we're going to give you a psychological designation now, and here's some pills. And now you're institutionalized. See, they can't get you on welfare. They're going to get you on drugs. If they can't do that, they're going to get you in the criminal justice system. Or they can't do that, they're going to get you in debt. And so, remember what happened when Bill Clinton left office? Everybody got upset, then Bush continued it, and so governors went, it's all right. They took millions. Clinton started with 86,000, was in the news, but then it's now millions and millions and millions of veterans. World War II vets, Korean War vets, Vietnam vets, Desert Storm vets. And let's say you collapse in your chemical suit in 130-degree temperatures. You collapse in your Bradley fighting vehicle. Or you got shot up, or You were on the front lines for 3 days with no sleep in Korea or Vietnam in a fire base. You collapsed. And when they went ahead and said, well, he served 9 months of his tour and he collapsed of exhaustion, they had this planned way back then. This has now come out in federal documents. They put on their PTSD or other disorders. And so you get flown back to the U.S., they pin a medal on your chest, and now you're trying to buy your grandson a rifle. Or you're trying to buy a rifle. And folks, I've talked to famous well-known UT football players, guys from the 60s and 70s, and people with no criminal records. They can't buy guns now, folks, because they were in the military. You understand how this works?